Hey, Man's World. This is Muir. I just want to make a very quick video response to, I think it's week 26, about trans parenting. It's being a transgender parent. I've got 3 kids myself. 2 live in the States with their dad, and I've got a 9-year-old son who lives here with me. The 2 who live in the States, they're my daughters. And when I came out, because I live in England, when I came out as trans to my family and friends in the States and also around the world, I had to do so, well, I chose to do so via YouTube video on my birthday, of all things. So, I mean, it was about the only way I could do it. I don't have a whole lot of contact with my daughters over there, but my eldest is on Facebook, so we talk quite a bit on there, at least once or twice a week when she can get online. My other daughter, my youngest daughter, she's not allowed on Facebook yet, as far as I know, so I don't get to talk with her at all. I pass messages on through my oldest daughter, which is all right. But I mean, I don't know if my youngest daughter knows, but my oldest daughter, she knows that I'm trans, and she hasn't mentioned it. She hasn't talked about it, so I don't know how she feels about it. She still calls me Mum, which is fine. I mean, on my coming out video, I explicitly told my kids and my nieces and nephews, they don't have to call me uncle or dad. They can continue calling me Mum and aunt. That doesn't bother me. It's just a word. My son lives with me. He's 9 years old and he's severely autistic. And I've talked about being transgender in front of him, but I've never sat him down and told him exactly what's going to be, what's going on and everything, because I'm not sure how much he'd understand being autistic. He's a pretty smart kid, but I don't think he'd completely understand it. I think really it would go right over his head. But I think when I get put on hormones, which will hopefully be April or May of this year, fingers crossed if everything goes right, then I'll sit him down and I'll explain to him that I've got this medicine that I've got to take, and the medicine will change things, make my voice deeper, and give me hair on my face, so he'll understand that at least. I mean, he was okay with me getting my hair cut short. I mean, last year my hair was like down to my shoulders. If you look up some of my earlier videos, you can see how long my hair was. And I've been slowly getting it cut shorter and shorter. And right now, I mean, this is as short as it's going to get. I'm actually trying to grow the top out a bit. But my son's fine with my short hair. When I first got it cut this short, he came home from school and he kind of looked at me weird. And then he touched my head and smiled, and that was it. He still calls me Mum or Mummy, which again is fine. I don't mind. He's a good kid. I think with kids, you have to just present things at their level, and as a transgender parent, I constantly remind myself, me being transgender does not have any impact on my parenting. Whether I'm on hormones or not, my parenting methods are not going to change. I'm not going to love my son any more. I'm not going to love him any less, because I love him lots and lots and lots as it is. But yeah, I mean, with being a trans parent, another thing one thing that bothers me with being a parent, a transgender parent, is because my son's autistic and he goes to short break stays with a carer through social services. He goes there for 2 nights a month, which gives me a bit of a break. Otherwise, I'm with him 24 hours, 7 days a week. Otherwise, so and without my mother, was her living in the States. I mean, I can't really pack him off and send him to grandma's for the weekend like like most people can. So this is basically like a surrogate grandmother for Paul, where he gets to go somewhere for a couple of nights and enjoy himself, and then he comes back home and he's happy, and I'm happy because I'm de-stressed. But with social services, I actually had to reassure them, because they were worried. Social services, they were concerned about how my transition would impact Paul, my son, and how he, because they said, well, you're going to have all these changes that are happening suddenly, and he's not going to be able to cope with them. And I'm like, I don't know what research you've done, but hormonal changes are not have a shot of testosterone, go to bed that night, wake up the next morning with a full beard. It doesn't happen that way. But for some reason, Paul's social worker is a complete idiot and actually thought that was going to happen. That I would get a shot of testosterone, go to bed that night, wake up the next morning, and look like a 34-year-old man completely. But no. Yeah, social services evidently live in a different world, different reality than the rest of us do. But I think the hardest part about being a transgender parent is worrying about how your transition is going to affect your kids. I think the older a child is, the more it's going to affect them, because they've got the peer pressure, and by the time a kid is like 16, 17 years old on up, they've picked up the I guess you call the mean streak of teenagers. Or if they go to a conservative church, they'll pick up the phobic attitudes of the church, which I as a child, as a teenager, I had to fight with that. I had to fight with it, because being trans and being bisexual as well. In the church, I was constantly told people like that are sinful, going to hell, and it's just, you're barraged with it. So, I mean, if your kid goes to a conservative church, they're constantly being told that it's wrong, and it's going to enter their heads, and they're going to have to come to terms with it and work it out for themselves. So, how it affects the kids, it's all down to how they're raised and what how well they're raised to be accepting, basically. My kid's pretty accepting. My son is. I think my daughters are too. And that's pretty much it, and I'm babbling now, so I'm going to be quiet, shut up, and hit stop. So that's it for me. Sorry if I didn't make much sense, and hope you guys have a good night. See you later.